All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the #1 podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. This is episode 155. I'm Christian Brindle, joined with Glenn Shelton as always. And we got a freaking jam-packed, awesome, amazing, life-changing show for you today.
We do. We absolutely do. I want to start really fast with an update on iOS 26 because this is something we've talked a lot about. I still see a lot in the sphere here of agents kind of discussing this and what it means and how this is going to affect, trying to connect with seniors and making phone calls. So yesterday it was available. I immediately updated my phone because I wanted to try this out. And I turned it on. I turned on the call screening feature immediately. It does not get turned on by default.
Which will most likely stop the vast majority of people from even having it affect their phones, right? Like, people aren't usually going to en masse go turn this on. We've seen this with other devices like Android.
Correct. Android released this feature. And I guess maybe we should back up for a second here. I'm kind of like going a million miles right into it. If you have no idea what we're talking about, iOS 26 is the newest software for iPhones that Apple is releasing. Not every single device will be eligible to download the newest software. There's always legacy models that aren't eligible. So this newest software is designed with the newest hardware in mind. So the new iPhones just got released, iPhone 17, for those keeping up. Which I want to say also, like, I remember watching the original Steve Jobs. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when he first released the iPhone and like that whole the stage video? Mm-hmm. I remember watching it, and then I remember like I got my parents. And I was like, "You guys have to see what just happened." And it feels like it's like a little disappointing every time a new iPhone gets released. It's like they're bringing out the same shirt. It's like, take a look. The megapixels went up by 12.
Yeah.
The selfie camera. We're calling it the stage cam. They have some like selfie camera name, like just rebranding terms.
Well, like Zuckerberg talked about it on Rogan, how they went from innovation to package selling.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Like, that was kind of the shift in focus for Apple. Did I lose you?
I'm hearing you, but your face was okay. You're back.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. But no, Zuckerberg talked about that on Rogan with Apple.
Yeah,
like totally. A year ago, how they went from innovation focus to bundling focus, squeeze every penny they can out of their consumer focus and driving profits focus, and then they're not focused on innovation at all anymore. Like, it's a slightly different iPhone from like 10 years ago. It's hardly different at all.
It feels, again, I'm not trying to speak ill of Tim Cook. I think he's an incredible operator and he's done some incredible things at Apple. You really can't say otherwise. Like the data speaks for itself, but it seems like it's very shareholder driven now, right? Yeah. They're trying to maximize every dollar. Again, they were like the first $1 trillion company. Anyways, we're getting way off topic. I can talk about Apple for the whole iOS 26. Okay, iOS 26. So we talked a lot about this because this was again being sold by some in this space as the end all be all of trying to connect with people that are not saved in your phone. Basically, what was being said earlier on was that if you don't have someone's information saved in your iPhone and you have iOS 26 and you turned on the call screening feature, that your call would get picked up by like a Siri AI IVR voicemail, and it would basically be like, please state your name and your reason for the call. And then that would pop up on your phone, and it would show up as text on your phone before actually getting through to you to even pick up the phone. So it's layer, right? This extra layer, which we had, again, I don't want to get too deep on this because we did a really great episode on it not too long ago. There was a lot of fear around this. So it's interesting though, because I update my phone yesterday, I immediately turn this on. I do some tests. Every call that I've tested so far came right through. There was no call screening. I have yet to see a call get screened by this killer of telesales call screening feature. So stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated if anything changes. But what has apparently, been the grim reaper of telesales has had an awfully slow start for me personally.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to kind of see how that develops. But, we shared on the episode, and then I shared an article in the Facebook group, I believe that same day that we did that episode in Seven Figure Medicare Agent, about just the statistics of services that basically already exist on other types of phones that aren't iPhone, and the stats behind this. And it's just like, it like caused 1 or 2% of calls to get filtered out or something like that. It was something like, it was like 99% of calls were unaffected on those devices.
Yep.
And I don't anticipate it'll be anything different. I think it definitely appears as something that is being used by people in the space to create fear and, for lack of a better word, grift. So, yeah.
We're grifting, baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better way to grift than create a boogeyman.
Yeah. Which, again, I don't want to downplay the possibilities here, right? Like, it's possible that something like this could become a huge issue in the future, without a doubt, right? Like, we could see it get really tough to contact prospects where if they don't literally have something like your name saved in your phone, they can't get it. But I just don't see it. That's like getting into the AI conversation about when is Robot Patriot Insurance going to show up, and when am I going to be, like, imagine like an agency, you're sitting down in a cubicle and like there's like 10 cubicles with Tesla robots in it. So it's like, I just wrote 20,000 apps. Just like, we could really speculate if that's what you guys want, but I'm trying to focus on reality right now. And as of right now, there is no iOS 26 nuclear bomb that I'm aware of. So
you're moving down on the leaderboard, bitch.
Oh man,
we do have an awesome topic today.
Yes.
Basically what we're going to be talking about, but before we get into it, I'll just kind of set the stage for you guys, and then we'll kind of go into the sponsor, then we'll get into kind of what we're going to be talking about today. But victim mentality as a sickness is what I decided to title this, because we're going to be reacting to a video where, if you're not familiar with the YouTube channel Jubilee, basically what they do is they create very entertaining content from bringing people together that disagree vehemently on certain issues. So they'll take like somebody who's prominent in something, right? Like, and a lot of times it's like on the political side, it's like, a doctor versus like 20 people that are anti-vaxxers or something like that.
Atheists against 20 Christians.
Yes, something like that. But so they'll put the person in the middle and then surround them with the 20 people sitting around them in chairs, and then they'll race to the center and have a few minutes to basically do intellectual battle with the person that they disagree with, and it's very entertaining. They do a good job, Jubilee, with content. Well, Patrick Bet David, for those of you that don't know, Patrick Bet David, integrity partner, sold a massive insurance agency in the life insurance space for a lot of money to Integrity. Created Valuetainment, which has blown up and become, the PBD podcast has become one of the biggest podcasts in the country. It's like top 10 in the whole country in terms of downloads. Anyway, so super prominent figure. Well, it's him versus 20 communists. And it's not at all what you think it's going to be. A lot of these kids is what they really all are, end up displaying crazy amounts of victim mentality. And I thought it related pretty well with our space because with everything that's going on, right, from iOS updates to, this new texting law in Texas I keep hearing about, which we're going to be doing an episode on at some point, to non-commissionable plans in certain areas. There's a lot of victim mentality going on in our space, but there always is, no matter what's going on. Like this, it might seem like it's new because it's fresh right now, but I guarantee this will happen again a year from now for some other dumb reason. And it was happening a year ago as well.
For sure.
We were in the front of it, right? With final rule, everything like that. So it just seems to me like having a victim mentality in our space or out of our space is an epidemic. And I want us to react to some of these Jubilee people that go head to head with Patrick Bet-David, and you just kind of see it oozing out. It's kind of crazy. And it's going to be
kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy. Like I can't think of a better way to describe it other than that. Before we get into that though, and I share my screen, we jump into the weeds on this. Glenn, talk to us about who the sponsor of episode 155 is. Let's get that out of the way. Let's pay the bills.
I'm choking down. This isn't the sponsor, but I'm obsessed with chocolate covered coffee beans. It is like my heroin. I don't know why I'm eating chocolate 8 a.m. here. Guys, today's sponsor of episode 155 is brought to you by Lead Heroes. Right now, you can get an exclusive preset appointment with scope of appointment that follows all of the CMS guidelines, including one-to-one consent, 48-hour rule. You get a recording, you get the scope of appointment, you can keep it for your records, and it shows up on your calendar like magic. We are currently running a promotion. You can get a savings of $200 or more until the end of tomorrow. So we are less than 48 hours away from this promotion evaporating. Not to mention, even if you try to get these maybe 2 weeks from today, you might not be able to. There is a possibility that we are completely booked out until the end of AEP or close to the end of AEP, where it won't do you any good if you're getting presets December 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So do not wait on this. We have an incredible webinar we did that went into very great detail yesterday. You can see that link. We have it here in the group, Some Figure Medicare Agent. If you have questions about our preset Medicare appointment program, shoot an email over to leads, L-E-A-D-S, leads at leadheroes.com. You can find a link to the promo on in the chat, in the comments on this live stream. So feel free to click it, grab these while you still can, and have the biggest, best AEP you've ever had. There's so much opportunity. And again, this kind of plays into the main topic today, is this mindset. And I talked about this on the webinar yesterday. There's this mindset of how you want your AEP to go. If you want to fall into this belief that the industry's ending and that you need to find something else to do with your life, you can totally do that. And you can even be justified. I'll even say that. You can even really justify it. You can get the evidence, you can get the receipts, you can be like, this is it, it's over. Or you can put on a different hat, go into the other camp and realize there's more opportunity than ever and really crush this AEP. And this preset appointment program with Lead Heroes can really help you have your biggest, best AEP ever. So thank you, Randy. Randy got the link shared below in the comments. So feel free to click that, grab your presets while you still can, before they're sold out, before the price goes back up tomorrow night. Christian, anything I missed that you feel like we should add to that?
No, I mean, we went into a lot of detail on the preset appointment program on episode 154 as well. So if you're an avid listener of the podcast, you're listening on audio platforms or anything like that, you can also go back to that episode and get a really in-depth explanation of how they're generated, what you can expect, everything like that. But they are unique. They are something that there's really nothing quite like it available in the same price range, in the same quantity available, in the same turnaround time, scope of appointment generated, everything else in between. So definitely take advantage while you can, because the sale, like Glenn said, ends September 17th. So tomorrow at the end of day. So get your presets while you can.
Lester, being the gentleman and scholar he is, he shared a link to the replay of the webinar in the chat there in the comments. So feel free to watch that. It was just over an hour long. I thought it was great. And you can also go to the Christian Brindle YouTube channel. Tons of great content on there. There's a video I'm going to recommend that you guys watch too really fast here is Medicare Express. It's a really well-known preset appointment vendor in the Medicare space. Christian did a really great breakdown of why Lead Heroes blows them out of the water when it comes to value and ultimately the quality of a preset appointment. I honestly sense that when I remember we were a little nervous at the time putting that out there. I have yet, and because that video came out last year, still just as valid today as it was last year when Christian published it. I have yet to have a single person reach out to me and say, "That's not true. Medicare Express has the best preset appointments in the world." And there's a reason why there's been essentially zero fight back on that video, in my opinion. It's because we really broke it down and explained, this is what makes the Lead Heroes preset appointment program so much better. So another great resource for you guys to check out. All right, that being said, let's get into the main topic today, Mr. Brindle.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we will jump into this Jubilee video, as I explained earlier what it is. And again, the video's long, right? So it's an hour and 45 minutes. There's certain spots that I actually wanted to go to, to conserve time. So we're going to do that. I'll play the intro real quickly so you guys can get an idea of the temperature of this conversation. And I'll stop here and there so we can give kind of some reactions. So here we go.
When did this come out, by the way?
2 weeks ago.
Okay. I thought it was new. With hundreds of insurance agents and agency owners at the event, this could not be a better opportunity to spotlight your business. If you're looking for a sponsorship opportunity and where to spend your sponsorship dollars this year, the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit is the spot to do it. You can have your own booth. You can network with agents. This is the 4th annual summit, so there's going to be a lot of agents there and a lot of agents who are looking for help from vendors for leads, educational vendors. You could have a software tool. There's so many great vendors that we've had in the past, and we're looking at a lot of great opportunities for businesses to sponsor at the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. So if you are looking for a sponsorship opportunity, make sure to check out 7figuresmedicareagentsummit.com.
Get your tickets today while they're still available and reach out about sponsorship opportunities. We'd love to have you involved with the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit in 2025. Now back to the show.
This is not the United States of Patrick Bet David. This is the United States of America.
Would you take money from a capitalist to help you go see specialists?
I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
But would you also be open to seeing somebody else I choose as a psychologist that may...
No.
You're not?
No.
When you're offering people here jobs, right? You're saying that they would have to pay you money to get that. So in reality, you're trying to convince them to pay you money to be part of your
claims
company.
of defaming. Be very careful defaming when you don't know the facts. I'm Patrick Bet David. I'm an entrepreneur and founder of PBD Podcast. Today, I'm surrounded by 20 anti-capitalists. My first claim is incentive is the engine of capitalism. Remove it and the system fails. Do I stay in the army?
Okay, so anyway, I want to jump to a specific part on this where there is a girl that comes up to debate with Patrick Bet-David, and her whole thing is basically pushing back that capitalist countries are better than, or communist countries, are better than capitalist countries, et cetera, et cetera. And he offers to fly her to a communist country of her choice and help her move there, give her the resources to help her move there, and she shies away pretty quickly as a result of that. So I'm going to play that part right about now.
Hi, I'm Alana. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so I think the issue is the framing of incentive here. Incentive doesn't disappear in a socialist or a communist society. It just changes and evolves. So we see in capitalism, the incentive is obviously monetary gain, maybe even collecting capital itself through land ownership. In a communist or a socialist country, you would see incentive would just evolve into, I know it's a vague term, but the common good. You have an incentive to do your chores around your house because you don't want to live in a filthy house, right? That makes sense. It doesn't have to be just monetary.
So you don't think monetary incentive drives people, or you're saying that people should be excited to do their job, whether they're getting incentivized for it or not? That's what you're saying.
People will be incentivized to do.
Give me a case study. Give me a case study of that worked. Give me one case study.
We don't even need to look at case studies. We can just look at charity work.
Well, why don't we actually look at a case study? You got two countries, North Korea, South Korea. One is communism and one is capitalism.
Yes.
North Korea's GDP last year was $23 billion.
Are we judging countries' values based off GDP and not what they value for
freedom of speech? You can't, like,
or...
if you lived in North Korea, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing right now. You wouldn't have a voice. In South Korea, I'm gonna give you stats. In South Korea, their GDP is $1.7 trillion.
South Korea is also owned by like 5 companies in total in the entire
70
country.
Times better
you think
than
that's
North
something
Korea.
to live by? If you are employed by the top 5
countries,
countries, you are practically unemployed in these countries.
Do you like to be free?
I'm not going to be free in a country like South Korea where I'm only employed in 5 companies or no
somebody
job.
out like me? Do you like to be free where you can have a strong opinion? Do you like to be free to have your
I like to be free, but that's why I'm anti-capitalist.
Well, maybe you are.
That is why I'm anti-capitalist, because capitalism removes that choice. There is no real incentive of capitalism because the incentive is survival. When you get into communism, the incentive is for the common good.
I love that. I got an offer for you before we move on. If I were to give you your $2,350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship, and I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 to spend the money.
Name me a communist country.
Would you give up your citizenship to go to that country? Whichever communist country you want to go to. Cuba, we can give you Venezuela, we give you North Korea, any one of those you want to go to. Choose any one of them. I'll give you a one-way ticket, and I'll fund it for you if you want to. Thank you. Yes.
Of course, doesn't take it. Okay, initial reaction so far.
Oh man, I think
it gets better. It gets better. That's the lightest one we have so far.
Yeah, I think that it's tough because capitalism doesn't, by definition, there's not necessarily like a morality attached to capitalism, but I think there is a freedom, right? So like he's talking about freedom essentially being a part of capitalism. And I think, in my opinion, a lot of that is true. I mean, obviously I am kind of a free market capitalist. I've talked about that on the show before. And, I think that her statement when she talked about South Korea, even if that's correct, which I have no idea if it is, but even if, let's say that is correct for the sake of this argument, if the idea is that 5 companies make up the majority of South Korea, that doesn't mean you have to be a part of those companies because it's still a free market. You could go start your own company, go do your own thing, etc. Like it's also 2025. The worldwide internet exists. Like you could start an internet business that's in operating on a completely different continent if you really wanted to. So that just seemed like a total red herring argument to me in this entire thing. But yeah, Patrick Bet-David was in the ring there, bro. Felt like he was hanging in there. I loved it.
And the funniest thing to me, right, is like there's such a damning of America and everything that America is built off of, right? Not to get political about this, but as soon as he presents, he's like, okay, he's like, if you really want to live in a communist country or that type of, that type of market, that type of economy, I will personally fund you to do it. And I'll spend whatever it takes basically for you to go there. And she's like, she's just like, no, like, like, so
no.
Again, it's to me, what this screams to is victim mentality. I can't get ahead because of this. The system's broken because of this. It's like, okay, I'll pay for you to go somewhere else. If you really think it's so bad here, oh no, I want to stay here.
Yeah.
And that's what's really glaring to me. This next one I wanted to go into is was one of my personal favorites. So, gentleman comes up. He's a substitute teacher, and just his appearance in general. I don't mean to be judgmental, but like, if this person was teaching my children, I'd be super, super worried just through his appearance and the way he talks and everything. Okay, let's keep going.
My next claim is if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. What's your name?
Caleb.
Caleb.
Yeah. So you just said that you are proposing if we divided all the wealth equally in like 5 years. How would you propose we divide the wealth in that way? In this thought experiment, again, if we're going to give it a serious look, I want to understand, how would you propose that happen?
I hope you realize this is just a question we're asking everybody, right? But if you take all the wealth, which is around $500 trillion, okay, give or take, you divide it by 8 billion people, it would be around $62,500 each. Within 5 years, the people that don't know how to handle money themselves, they would lose it all. And within 5 years, the same wealthy would get the same amount of money.
As someone who certainly doesn't make that much money, I'm willing to take that as a gamble just for fun.
Right,
I'll be honest. But at the same time, like, okay, so you're just now claiming that people who don't have wealth don't know how to manage it. And that's fair because a lot of them have never had it before. So what do we do to basically ensure that people like myself who are currently, thank you to the United States, thank you to the state of California for giving me medical insurance to get blood work, for giving me food stamps so I can have food. I've applied to, I don't know how many hundreds of jobs. I can show you the receipts. I can show you the email confirmations. Like, I am trying my best to use my values with the freedom that we have.
So if I give you a job, you would work 40 hours a week?
If the job is in alignment with something that's noble and good, I think I could. The issue is, and again, you may say that.
Okay, right there, right? Like, don't have a job. And he goes on later to say, I'll keep playing it, that he's a substitute teacher. That's probably here and there. It's probably not a consistent workflow of work for him. But Patrick goes, if I was to give you a job, would you take it? And he's like, well, I'd have to make sure that it was aligned with my values, like, again, pickiness of the job, where if you're in a society that is communist, socialist, anything like that, you're not picking your job. You're being told what job you're going to do. And so you don't have the freedom to be picky.
I think to go back to the claim that Patrick Bet David's actually making here, though, and I 100% agree with this claim that if we were to take the 500 trillion roughly of the global cash flow, the global net worth, whatever that number means, is take $500 trillion divided by the 8 billion people, everyone gets $65,000 roughly. I 100% think that the people who had the most, or I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be an exact reflection, but I think it would be very, very similar, right? Like, and again, it's because I think the structure of how someone thinks, or, again, businesses are that's where a lot of the cash flow is going. So if you are creating a business, you're an entrepreneur, you're going to naturally end up absorbing more of that cash flow than others versus someone who's just going to spend the money. Like he's saying, this speaks to a much broader point too. And I think this is interesting, the way it ties into insurance is, like, what did you learn about insurance in school? What was your education around insurance?
Practically nothing.
I don't remember learning anything except maybe the basic definition of it. You know,
practically nothing. I can't remember a single thing that I learned in school about insurance.
So the financial, which essentially insurance is a financial product. So the financial education, this is probably almost a global issue, not just an issue here in the US, but that's a big part of that too, is like the average person just isn't financially educated, right?
Mhm.
So if
Yeah.
you get handed a check for $65K and you're financially illiterate, what is that really going to do for you?
Nothing.
You know?
It's the same habits that you've been displaying will continue, and you'll squander that money, right? It's just
Totally.
it's I totally agree with that. Okay, I'll keep going on this one.
That this is a personal weakness, but like right now, substitute teaching, tutoring, trying to help in that way is making it so that I'm able to scratch by, but without the supplemental income and the help from the society of people who make more money, I'm going to not have enough food.
I want to address something which you made a point that I agree with on why don't some people create wealth? In my family, when I was growing up, and I was telling this young lady over here, when my dad was a cashier at a 99-cent store, we've never owned an insurance policy before. My parents, we've never owned a house before. I've never lived in an apartment with a swimming pool before. We've never had a 401k, stock, mutual fund, none of that stuff. I had no clue how money worked. So for me, when I got out of the Army with a 1.8 GPA, out of high school, I went straight to the Army because I didn't know how money works. If you look at our system today, in high school, we learn about a lot of different things. They don't teach us about taxes, finances, mutual funds, stocks, bonds. Colleges don't even teach a lot of that right now. So
you work in a high school?
No offense.
You work in a high school.
Hang on. Gotta get through the ads.
Have you have experience like me, someone who's essentially on those front lines working in?
I've worked with many high school teachers and the directors of psychology to talk to the youth. Yes,
so
I have.
Right now, I'm in a position where I have options, like you said. I do have some options, but they seem to be somewhat destructive and exploitative of me, of my peers. So I'm trying to
I think you're too selective for jobs right now. You don't have the ability to be selective at this stage.
Well, but the thing is, I do because I'm instilled with a freedom that is maybe God, universe given, and I don't actually have to, because of the system, like you said, I don't have to play along with some corrupt game. So I gave up.
I think California is perfect for someone like you.
Well, thank you. California agrees. You mentioned earlier in a previous discussion that we have free speech. We can say what we want.
Right.
But the thing is, have you been punched on the train for how you look and how you share your ideas?
Do I look like an American to you? Do you see this nose?
No, I'm just asking.
I'm Middle Eastern. You know what's happened to this guy? You know what's happened to me when I was discriminated all over the place?
So do you really feel like that's free speech if you're being
I don't mind
punished
by people who have prejudice against you? I don't mind it because I understand there is risk that you may be disrespected. They're like here, I've been disrespected here many times. I've been offended here many times. A lot of you are coming here finding a way to attack me and tell different stories. I'm okay with that.
So the one thing that jumps out to me on this one is, and you'll see that there's a recurring theme on this conversation of, I can't find consistent work. And then when there's questions that are pressed, it's like, well, it has to align with my morals. It has to align with my purpose. Like the pickiness goes to a 10th degree level in terms of being ultra selective of the work. And that will be a recurring theme here. But the comment of, I think California is perfect for someone like you.
Savage. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thoughts on any additional thoughts on this one before we move on to the next one. I got two more.
Well, I think about like early on in the start of Lead Heroes, and then like early on as an insurance agent as well. You don't have the luxury of being picky, right? Like,
right.
We spend a lot of time door knocking old direct mail leads. And I didn't have the luxury of being able to invest in a program like what Lead Heroes has now, like a preset appointment program where it's exclusive and fresh, and I have a new list of prospects showing up on my calendar every single day. So it's kind of one of those things where like you can, once you get to a certain level of success, you can start to be really picky though. You can start to really try to chase maybe some of these different, you know, if you have different ethical missions or a different thing that you want to pursue. But I think starting off, if you're trying to be that picky, you're going to have a tough time making any type of impact at all, right? Even a personal impact for yourself. So kind of feels like the cart before the horse, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Is like, I think you have to really grab onto what opportunities you can before you can be really picky about what that is, what it looks like.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, this next one takes us even to another level. This next one gets to the point where Patrick Bet David literally presents a job offer to someone who says they can't get a job, and then they turn it down. That's the next one. So this next one's my favorite one by far.
All right, let's be respectful.
I'm glad y'all tripped over each other because I did too. How's it going? James.
What's your name? James.
So one of the things that you have stated is that we have options. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I come from a divorced family and we lived below the poverty level from the time that I was born until now, frankly. So I'm one of those people that you're talking about that isn't pulling themselves up by their bootstraps enough, which like I didn't have boots to begin with. And like, I don't know if you've ever had boots, but like legs are load bearing structures.
I relate.
And like, you can't really pull up a boot when you're wearing it, you know? So where exactly am I failing? When I am working 80 hours a week, I am taking the only jobs that will hire me. I have put in 477 applications over the last 2.5 years. Not even gotten a call back once.
Why do you think?
You tell me. You're a job creator.
But I don't know your resume. You know your life better than I do. Why do you think you have not gotten a call back on 477?
Because I do not have a degree.
No way that's true.
Okay.
Because I do not have a degree because I could not afford one.
Okay, let's stop here. There's a lot to dissect on this one, right?
There's no way that's true.
There's no way it's true. There's no way. There's no way whatsoever.
Unless you're literally applying for positions that you like you're not even remotely qualified. Like I'm applying to be an astronaut, right? Like that type of like gap. Right. But even then you'd probably get a call from somebody, right?
Like to be a doctor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you're applying to be a doctor and you never went to medical school, okay, yeah, you applied 477 times and nobody called you. But if I don't believe that's true, I guess.
No, neither do I.
I don't see how that's true. Yeah.
Neither do I. And I believe his reaction to when he's offered a job tells a lot about what happens when he is getting these calls. They're not good enough for him, or you know what I mean? Like we'll continue.
Okay.
I live in an area where the physical job market is very limiting.
Where do you live?
I live in rural Texas.
Okay.
One thing I want to mention too, he mentioned, I don't have the degree. I don't have a degree. That's why I can't get a job. It's something he said earlier. As a business owner, I have not hired people because they'll come in and flex their degrees on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that almost like hurts somebody in a way when they're applying to work for ESI. Not saying that 100%. I wouldn't hire somebody that has a degree. That really has nothing to do with it. But I almost feel like if somebody comes in and that's like all they're talking about, they're flexing their degree. Oh, my degree, my degree, my degree. It's almost like I'm going to have a problem with this person because they're so ingrained in the ideology that their degree actually means something.
Which, like, again, I have nothing against higher education, and I think college degrees are great, and I think people being educated is great, but at the end of the day, it's not going. That degree doesn't do your job for you. Your degree doesn't show your work ethic, right? Like,
I had an employee once upon a time. Well, we did together since merging.
Yes, we did. We did.
Completed her college education, got her degree, and wanted a raise as a result of that because now she's all of a sudden more valuable. I'm like, you're the
Which
same person
the
you were
degree was,
yesterday.
and correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't the degree in just something completely irrelevant as well?
Yes.
Like it wasn't directly related to anything we're doing inside the business in any shape or form, which you
Yes.
could maybe make an argument, right? If it was directly related to the business, maybe there's some validity there. But to just say that because I have this 4-year degree, this diploma, all of a sudden I am more valuable than I was yesterday. That's a crazy line of thinking for sure.
Right. And you know, for me personally, like to work for me, there's no degree that you can possibly have that I think is going to make me think you're more valuable. There's nothing. I can't think of a single degree that you would have where I'm like, yeah, you know, because I mean, I don't have a degree. I don't think you have a degree. You know,
I have an associate's, a
Oh, you
2-year
do?
associate. I have a 2-year associate's degree from a
Okay.
community college, and then I dropped out.
You have much more of a degree than I do.
That's
My
right.
my point being is like, if I had a piece of paper that said I learned a bunch of stuff that does nothing to do with what I do today, would that make me a better business owner? Would that make me a better builder of my business? I would argue no. I would argue no. It'd be the exact same person I am now. I'd still have to learn the same things. I'd still have to go through the same experiences and the same, you know, learning trials of being an employer, hiring, marketing, branding, everything that we do. So anyway, I'll continue because there's a lot more on this one.
Okay.
So in that, like in the town that I grew up in, for instance, there are 8 jobs, period.
Does your family live there? Mom, dad, everybody's in that same city?
Everybody was at one point.
Okay.
Most of them are dead now.
Okay. Sorry to hear.
It is what it is. It's poverty. You know, we're kind of used to that on this side.
That's the other thing. If a
It
guy
is what it
comes
is.
in, if a guy comes in for a job interview like that, and he's like talking like that, I don't know about you, but that would make me feel uncomfortable.
Well, his claim though is he never even got a chance to interview, right?
Right.
His
Which is
claim
like,
is he never even got a call.
which is asinine. But even if he did get a call, like, what are you doing to make yourself look like an attractive applicant? Anyway, we'll keep going.
Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like the way
There
you
it is.
speak, like,
Title.
you're a
Title.
victim where all this happened to you?
Because I exist and things happen to
Well, why do you see
and
yourself
as
as a
such,
victim?
things happen, and that's why I say that they happen
You're
to
a
me.
good-looking guy. Why
Thanks.
do you think you're a victim? Why do you think you're
Whoa.
somebody that's got into a situation because it's not fair what happened to me? Let me give you a couple options.
Sure.
Are you open to leaving the city you're in?
I've already left it.
So what city?
I've left multiple cities.
So if somebody else gave you a job in a different place, you'd be
100%.
willing to move there.
100%.
Okay. On your resume,
It says that.
What do you have on your resume? Skill set. What do you offer?
Transportation expertise, logistics expertise.
You consider yourself a hard worker.
I mean, I feel
You
like
said
80 hours a week.
That's a
something like
hard
that.
worker.
Sure.
How about we do this? How about I interview and I give you a job? Would you
Sure.
move to Fort Lauderdale?
Ooh, man, that's Florida. Sure, why not?
Would you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Sure, why not?
How about you and I document this? After this, you come, I do an interview with you, and I give you a job. And let's see what you do 90 days later.
Okay, I'll look up your company and all that kind of stuff, and I'll see it. But
you
like,
see what just happened
regardless,
right there? But
Mike,
watch what you just did.
sure.
You just said you applied to 477 companies who's not gotten back
Didn't
to you.
get an interview.
A
Yeah.
business owner who's hiring aggressively just made an offer to you. You said you're willing to move. Then you said, I'll look at it. You became selected.
I didn't
You
say I look at it.
contradicted
If you'd let me
yourself.
finish my sentence.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
I would like to look into your company to
Yeah.
see exactly what you guys do,
You would like to.
because I don't know what you guys do.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, I may be wasting my time going. If you guys are a finance company, if you guys are a bank or something like that, I don't have the certifications. I don't have the degrees. So
Okay, so thoughts on this so far?
I don't even know what to say. It's so stupid, honestly. It's so dumb. Where does Jubilee find these people?
I
from?
don't
Like,
know. I don't know.
like where they're like, I imagine they're like driving like a van around and they see people on the
Hey,
like,
ice cream, get
you,
in.
get in, yeah, get in,
I
get in,
got
get in. I need you.
candy.
I've got $500 and I need you for 5 hours. We're shooting something. Get in. Yeah, that's just, the whole thing was just so dumb right there. I don't know. I guess again, to kind of go back, I don't really believe anything this guy's saying to begin with. This
Same.
whole idea that he made from a, I'm a huge numbers guy as far as like the law of large numbers. If you do enough activity, you're going to see some type of results. 477 job applications, and the idea that he didn't even get a call back to do an interview, and then here he is getting an actual job offer, which I guarantee you Patrick Bet-David would have 100% hired him. And sounded like it was maybe more of a content play he was going for. Like,
Sure.
let's which hey, Patrick deserves to try to get his value out of it. If this guy ends up being a flop, right? At least he can say he tried. But if it was me and I'm really struggling and I can't find work, and someone said, "Hey, why don't you move to where my company's at and I will hire you?" Yeah, I'm like, yes, please. Like, where do I sign? Right? Like that would have been my kind of return. And then his whole like, you didn't let me finish. No, you said what you said. You did finish.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you did finish what you said, actually. Like, and I think this one in particular seems to really hit home with agents. Like if you're hiring for your agency, does this not like hit you in the heart a little bit?
Absolutely. 100%. That's exactly what I thought about.
Speak to that. Yeah, speak to that for a minute, because I know we've been down this road many times.
There's so many situations where I'll work with an agent in some capacity, and might not be in the context of finding a job, but it's in the context of I've tried everything to get clients. I've tried everything to make sales. And then when you really pull back the onion on it, no, they didn't. Again, it's selective, right? I want to make sales selectively in the way that I want to make sales. I'm not doing whatever it takes. I'm not doing whatever I could potentially be doing. I only want to work referrals because referrals are easy. So I'm only taking referrals. And then if it doesn't result to a referral, I'm not trying to go out there and get new business. That's the biggest correlation that I thought of when it comes to agents. And there's a million examples of that. But yeah, there's a lot of people in our space, and probably all spaces, that mirror this type of thought process.
Totally.
All right. So one more.
Let's keep going. Yeah, we probably have time for one more.
There's one more. I'm not even going to set the stage for this one. I'll just kind of let it play.
This is going off a cliff here. I can feel it.
And by the way, for anybody that's listening, if you do want to watch the entire thing here, you can just go to YouTube, search what I searched, Patrick Bet-David Jubilee, and it should be easy to find. It's about an hour and 45-minute video. Good watch. I watched the whole thing because I was very entertained by it.
Yeah.
All right.
He's the real deal, dude.
100%. All right. We will continue with this last one.
Company. That's all I said.
I appreciate you. Thank you, James.
Hi.
The chair run is
fake.
Yeah,
the chair
nice to
run's
meet you.
crazy.
So how would you define socialism? Because I think you're kind of misunderstanding what anti-capitalist ideals look like. I think we are just trying to advocate for basic rights for our people in this country and across the world, of course. But I don't think it's necessarily about equal wealth disparity around the world for most people that are anti-capitalist. I think it's more about just standard rights that are provided by the government.
Standard rights that are provided by the government.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
go a little bit deeper. So for you, when the claim here is, if the money in the world were divided equally, it will return to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you disagree?
Yes.
Tell me why you disagree.
Yeah, so I disagree because I don't even think many people are trying to argue for that.
People are not trying to argue for that? So
who are you arguing in this debate?
What I'm trying to say...
There's like a very select amount of people that are trying to argue for equal wealth disparity. Yeah. Most people are at least trying to at least advocate for wealth and at all for people that don't have access to healthcare right now, that don't have access to a good education right now, that don't have access to their basic needs like food.
Do you think our system right now allows people to stay in those situations long term?
They force them to stay in those situations long term.
Okay, so part of me actually agrees with you, but why do you think they force them to stay in those situations long term?
I think because they are trying to convince the working class that they don't have rights.
I actually don't think that's what it is, although that's fair to your point here. What's the chances that any
He's
of you
such a
here
good
voted for Donald Trump in
communicator.
2024?
Yeah.
Exactly, right? What is the chances that all of you here can't stand the phrase MAGA, Donald Trump, any of that stuff? Is that a fair assessment? Fair. Okay.
Yeah, so it's your
So
point.
think about it this way. So maybe you're right that the Democratic Party that's been earning your vote for a long time wants to keep you there because they'll
They
have
have
your
never
vote for the
earned
rest
my
of your
vote.
life.
They have never earned my
Who
vote.
did you vote for in 2024?
In 24, I voted for the socialist candidate,
Who was that?
Claudia de la Cruz, I believe.
Who did you vote for in 2020?
I was actually not able to vote. I was in a hospital.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes,
Sorry to hear.
because of results of capitalism.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so I didn't have
I
access
was
to
in the
proper
hospital with
healthcare
a
or even
disease.
access to a proper job that would sustain me as a disabled person.
Are you comfortable being specific on what happened?
I
You don't
guess
have to if
so.
you're not
I mean,
comfortable.
I want to point out masterclass.
Masterclass communicator. It's
Masterclass.
unbelievable to see him operate, to be honest. If there's any takeaway from this entire thing, in my
Yes.
opinion, his ability to communicate in a hostile environment. No, this guy could sell the pants off of anybody. There's no
Yes.
doubt in my mind. Like, I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to buy, dude. Like, tell me where to sign. Like, it's honestly incredible to see him
Him operate. Yeah.
yeah, the way he's his word choice. There's a book on my shelf here, and I want to do a book episode with Christian here soon, so I don't want to spoil this, but there's a book called Never Split the Difference.
Yeah.
By, I believe it's Chris Voss is the author's name. He's a FBI negotiator. Like, he would negotiate with people who are like kidnappers or they're holding ransom, and like, that's the vibe I'm getting from him right now, is like, it's just on, like, it is a top, he's in like the 0.001% of community. No wonder this dude's a billionaire. Is he a billionaire?
I don't think he is yet, but he's certainly a
I'm sure he will
multiple
be.
hundreds of million,
Yeah.
multiple hundred millionaire,
sure,
and he will
I'm
be.
sure he'll be a billionaire. Yeah, I'm
no
sure he
doubt
will.
about it.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's 50.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'm floored by that. That's my number one takeaway, you guys.
Yeah.
If you want something from today's episode or from this video, it's here he is. He's selling in a hostile environment, and in my opinion, I think he's doing incredibly well.
And if you go through a lot of these, right, like, he's almost in a way like trying to help a lot of these kids.
Oh, totally.
Like, they want to fight, they want to argue, and he's like, who hurt you? Who hurt you? How can I help you? That's almost like, you know what I mean?
Capitalism. Capitalism hurt me, actually, Dad.
Okay,
Thank
we're getting to the point I wanted us to see on this conversation. So to kind of
Yeah.
circle back, they're talking about elections. 2020, she said she didn't vote because she was in a hospital because of capitalism. And so he's asking follow-up questions related to that. So that's where we're jumping back in.
I'm also mentally ill, so that was something I had to deal with. But I'm mainly mentally ill because I am disabled in a capitalist country.
Tell me more about mentally ill. Who qualified you as somebody that's mentally ill?
Imagine bringing your side project
Bro,
to
we gotta get
I know.
you.
I know. I pay for
YouTube
every
Premium, bro.
subscription
How do
known
you
to
not
man,
have
and I don't have
YouTube
that
Pre-
one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shame on you. Shame.
My doctor team,
Who convinced you that you're mentally ill?
me and my doctor team.
What's the specific category of mental illness? Is there one? You know why I asked this question? Let me explain to why I asked this
So
question.
I don't even like the psychological industry. I don't really stand for like Sigmund Freudian politics or
Sure.
anything like that. So if
Yeah,
you're going
I
to
asked-
debate the ethics of psychology.
I'm not. Where I'm going with this is going back to the same thing with if the money were to divide it equally, it'll end up being where it's at within 5 years. My trouble is, in many cases, somebody you and I look up to will say something to us that we choose to believe for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, it could be something where you have ADHD, you're mentally ill, you're poor, you're this, you're that, and we get to choose to buy into that or not. And if you do,
so you're saying I'm not mentally ill or I'm not
saying
disabled?
you are or you're not. I would challenge it to go a little bit deeper to see if there's anything you can do about it.
So you're asking me about my health. You're asking me
Now,
in my
I will say we are in a market where, stay with me here, there is a market where there's profit to convince you that you have issues to take the medication because they're making money.
Yeah, but I
And
don't
I'm
have
not
access to
supportive
the
of that.
medication. I don't have access to even a result or a solution to my disability as someone with a connective tissue disorder. It's genetic.
Have you been able to go to different doctors and get yourself tested? And
Yeah.
see? You have?
Yes.
And in California?
Yes, but not
And who
enough.
paid
I can't
for it?
find a specialist.
You can't
I
find
can't find a specialist
Is there
for who
anyone
I
in your
am.
life that's
I
willing
can't
to pay
find
for the
anyone.
specialist?
Well, they could they would if they had
Anybody
money,
in
but
your-
they,
Would
yeah,
you be okay if I pay for a specialist for you to go see?
yeah.
Would you take money from a capitalist to help you go see specialist?
I mean, yeah, sure, why
I'm
not?
going to have you go see two. Where do you live in California?
Yeah.
I'm going to have you go see 2 specialists. But would you also be open to seeing somebody else I choose as a psychologist that may?
No.
You're not.
No.
So you simply-
choose as a psychologist.
I
You're
would-
choosing who gets to determine
No,
what my
what
mental
I-
health looks
what I-
like.
what I-
No. No.
What?
Okay, then I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah. So I think
What?
So that was my last clip I wanted to play.
Wow.
Thoughts on that one?
Man, I'm gonna need to go detox for an hour after this. Is how crazy that video was that we just watched. Again, I kind of come back to this master class and ultimately selling and what you're seeing from Patrick Bet David.
Yes.
The way I like the amount of times he said, "I agree with you," right? So he's in this hostile environment with people who are completely on the opposite end of the spectrum. And obviously it'd be really easy to be super combative, right?
Yes, of course.
That's the default. You're probably, especially in today's environment in 2025, you go on social media, it's you're wrong, I'm right. It's my team against your team. It's red versus blue. That's kind of where we're at in the rhetoric today.
Yes.
An absolutely incredible communicator in the way he's able. I mean, right there at the end, she's talking about, he's basically taking this stance, which I love because I agree with him too. Of, capitalism has incentivized the pharmaceutical industry to keep you sick, and they want you to keep taking this medication. And so he's essentially siding with her, saying let's go deeper on this. Let's see what's really going on. Let's expand some of the doctors looking at you. I guess where I really got lost in that clip though is why she was all about seeing 2 specialists that he would pay for, take a capitalist money, but I don't understand the psychologist. I'm like,
that was the breaking point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Why? Yeah.
Okay. Did I lose
There
you?
we go.
All right.
Yeah, your mic. I think your mic's coming through the wrong. We froze there for about 10 seconds. Your mic sounds like it's coming through a different source now.
All right.
But yeah, the breaking. Yeah. Why was that? Tell me, why was that the breaking point?
Yeah, that's a great question. It almost seems like there was a thought process of okay, you're going to pick this. You're going to pick the person that's going to work with me in my mental health. So you'll have an influence or a say on what's going on in my head or something like that. To me, it was very much struck to a limiting belief and the thing where it's there's solutions. There's people willing to offer solutions, but you're not willing to compromise, and you're not willing to, meet in the middle to get to any of those solutions. I think you hit it right on the head. To kind of go into my final thoughts, because I know we're over our time on this episode. Like Glenn said, I think masterclass on communication, on sales, on overcoming objections, on remaining calm, on asking questions, looking to understand and then overcome the objection, which is what all master salespeople do. Remain in agreement. I mean, it was so polished from kind of start to finish in that regard. In addition to that, right? I think if you find yourself displaying like victimhood mentality, I hope this kind of like shows you what it looks like from the outside looking in, right? Because it doesn't get us anywhere, and it's a sickness, I believe, in our society, and it prevents a lot of people who are in good situations, have a lot of opportunity in front of them, from accomplishing and achieving a lot of success. It's kind of what I walk away from it as well. And yeah, it's I don't know what else to say about it other than that. You know, there's always a way. If it's meant to be, it's up to me, as the great Zig Ziglar said. And yeah, but there's very few people, it feels like, in our society, especially younger people, that believe that.
Yeah, to kind of add to that, again, I agree with really everything you said there. I think that it's easy to look at that video and think Patrick Bet-David, you know, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, been in the game for a really long time. The reality is, though, is you could be literally anybody today. You could be 18 years old, entering the workforce for the first time. You could be 50 years old and you've been doing this for a long time. If you can hone your skills of communicating the way that he did, I think your potential's unlimited. I don't think anything else is ever going to really get in your way. I really think Patrick Bet-David could, utilizing that skill set, could probably be successful, like doing almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see why he's had success from that ability to communicate. Sales is a lot of, ultimately it's a communication game in a lot of ways. Christian just kind of went into that a little bit right there, so I'm not going to rehash it, but I would say if there's a takeaway here, it's that, and that, again, this victim mentality in my mind it's a lot of, it's perspective. You can find people who have lost everything, who've lost limbs, who go out and do things that I didn't even realize was possible. Or, you know, you can be that person where you feel down on your luck and you just choose to lean into it, and you want to, you know, bring other people down with you. Like, it really does feel like it's a choice of path when something happens to you in life. And we all have a variety of different things that happen to us, and you get to pick. It's kind of it's a choose your own adventure. You know, what path do you really want to go on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and with social media today, there's a megaphone where some of you choose to maybe bring down others, you know. And again, to bring this really back to what we're seeing right now in the Medicare space, some of you, you know, a non-commissioned plan comes out and some of you are grabbing your megaphone and you're like, the industry's over, commissions are going away, get out while you can, get out while you can. And like, that's ultimately just a victim mentality in my opinion. That's really all it is, versus, you know, the other path of, wow, there's more opportunity than ever. There's going to be a lot of seniors who need help this year, and I can help them. I'm able to help them. You know, that's kind of the two paths. So that's my final thoughts. I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would.
I thought you would.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah. If you guys like episodes like this, if you want to see more episodes like this where we react to these to commentary or some other type of thing, let us know. We definitely want to do the type of content that you guys want to see. You guys drive the bus, as I've said in the past. And until next time, appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. Regardless if you're watched live or whether you're watched on the replay, whether you're watching audio, whether you're watched on video, we appreciate your support. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review on whatever platform of your choice allows you to do to support the show. And we'll be back next time with another episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast. Thanks, everybody. Here's to your massive success.